let's just see what they pick. Because I'm like, yeah, no, I'm like, but actually I don't know if that should have some more surprise picks. Game number 3 is going to be Infernal Shrines. It will be the map pick of Tempest. So first ban will yet again go over to Raven. So Raven actually getting 2 of 3 so far for first bans. And we only saw 1 game so far of Tempest with first ban. It was game 1. Their previous series, they won all 3 games of the second. So we could definitely see the Vala, Trinity used here. Maybe Kerrigan comes out again. These are map-specific drafts that we see on Infernal Shrines.
Maybe we'll see Honkono get to be on Kerrigan for the first time. He was always with Dami, so he could not really show off his Kerrigan play. I know he does play Kerrigan a lot because I watch his stream sometimes too, but let's see. Sometimes H82 can also be in Zeratul. There are lots of comfort picks for themselves. Let's get into Infernal Shrines.
First ban Raven. Banned Uther in game number 2. In game number 1, banned the Anubarak. And that will be what they choose yet again here.
Even when they took Anubarak, the timing of the CCs often missed, and also the timing of the Cocoon uses was a little bit off. So banning that off so Tempest does not get to take it.
Uther first pick with the Genji ban. So this is pretty standard so far. This would be the first time they prioritize Uther over Anubarak. It was reversed in the previous set. And already, as we talked about, the Vala Auriel composition is already starting here for Tempest. When this is left available, they're willing to take it.
And I can also smell Gul'dan coming along. That's also a very powerful weapon that Lockdown has been using in Infernal Shrine sometimes. But with Vala, maybe they don't even need it. They can just go with Li Ming instead. And losing Valario already. Raven, they need to have a very strong, sturdy front line. Maybe grabbing Arthas right off. Or Johanna even have that wave clear in the shrine. And also cancelling out, giving blind to Vala. Removes a lot of the damage that comes out.
Well, they're giving it a lot of thought here. Morale definitely not on the highest stage here for Raven right now, as they struggled so much. It's going to be the Zeratul pick coming in with Tyrael. Knew that Tyrael was definitely a likely choice to remove that protection away from the Vala. Pairing it even with the melee here, so we have 2 potential sources of invulnerability on the side of Raven. So for bans for Tempest, they want to remove the Greymane because he is the top tier DPS next to Vala that will pair with this combo, the Uther and the Tyrael. So he is removed, no shocker.
With Zeratul, Tyrael already picked up lots of game-changing heroics with Void Prison and Sanctification available for Raven.
This should be an easy Tassadar ban, you would think.
That's the easy ban. But if they have to go around, though, they can go for the tank. Okay, they are going for the easy Tassadar ban.
So now you're looking for the secondary support here for Auriel. Uther's the best option, but unfortunately is taken away. So I wonder how Tempest will approach this. We've seen Zarya used on this map in the past to help protect the Vala. Maybe that's what Honkono's raising his fist saying he can play here. But we may just see them move away from this Vala Auriel all in and move into the Gul'dan, as you were saying, so that leaves Honkono on the Vala, and then you have Gul'dan to be played by Lockdown. You have 2 great sources of hope, so you get the extra healing. You have a more rounded composition in terms of DPS, and you grab a strong tank with this. Okay, we have seen the Stitches work with Attainment Strike on this map and on Battlefield of Eternity just earlier this evening. Time's ticking. Will be the Dahaka and Arthas. So saving potentially the second DPS and maybe a Gul'dan or the secondary support for the last pick. That's how you draft when you want to have that 5th pick open, leave for flexibility. You take the more obvious picks first, and then you can leave flexibility to respond to the last picks of your opponent's side.
That's exactly how you do it as a second second pick. You get to leave the 5th pick open so you can respond after you watching the entire comp of Raven. Because of course one pick can change everything in the draft. Already picking Vala, Ariel. I think they're very safe. Gul'dan, as we mentioned before, or even Li Ming, as they were hovering in the ban phase for a second. They have solid front lines, the CCs, the global. This is a very, very balanced draft already coming out from Tempest. Raven can still make it happen, you know. They have Zeratul, Tyria, Uther, but they need damage. Sergeant Hammer is out of the meta right now. Who do you have? Who do you go for?
Asmodan, of course.
Tychus is also okay, I guess.
Tychus is really decent here.
There
They're
we
going to
go.
grab Falstad too for the global. This is a solid draft. They've got the ability to split push with Falstad. Zeratul and Tychus can help clear caps quickly, so they can bring the pressure on the opposite side of the map when the Punisher Shrine is announced. So will we see the Gul'dan here? Very risky against the Zeratul. They already only have the one support for Vala. Or will we see a secondary support? Not a whole lot of secondary supports available that we've seen in the meta. Like Malfurion, not really going to be a solid choice here. We have seen Tyrande used in situations like this, not really in Korea, not really in this meta, but definitely an option. Brightwing, you get the global with the extra protection. I think it's probably going to be a secondary DPS though.
Yeah.
Maybe something even like a Nazebo. The Gul'dan's still a good pick. Maybe Lunara as well, not a bad choice. Alarak.
Even more damage. They want to put in
melee.
burst damage now. Wow, their front line. Raven will have a hard time, especially Falstad, if he gets into the silence after the telekinesis. That chicken will be gone.
Gonna get roasted. The draft of Raven, pretty all-around strong draft. Feels more like Phase 1 meta where you have the global in Falstad, you've got good wave clear, good DPS in Tychus. I have to say, overall, I kind of like the draft of Raven more, but Tempest, will they make this Alarak pick work? We're going to find out right now in what could be our last game of the night on Infernal Shrines. In blue, Tempest, Honkono on Vala, Hyde on Ariel, Dahaka being played by H82, Sign on Arthas, and Lockdown on Alarak.
And in red, Raven, Darvish on Falstad, Hamlin on Zeratul, NMX on Tychus, Deong on Tyrio, and Chom on Uther.
He's a marksman, Falstad, no surprise here. For Falstad, for level 1. Everything else pretty normal. For the upgrade to the E for Alarak at level 1. There's the telekinesis onto NMX, no follow-up. Will we see the Howling Blast? Not this time. The dive is real onto Honkono. Not able to auto-attack to build hope. Finally does here in the end after getting that first initial burst heal. And it will be first blood to the side of Tempest. Sign surviving there with his Q through the Tyrael explosion. So pretty quick first blood, sub 1 minute. And Raven, really, when you look at the series as a whole, they're up against a team that made 4th place last season. They were favored to take 3rd. They lost to Mighty in the end. But still, one of the top tier teams that took your best player. Definitely feels emotional, feels frustrating. When not only did you lose games number 1 in dominant fashion, get 1 and 2 you lost in dominant fashion, Zeratul dies off screen somehow, but you're also lost 2 games of game 2.
Well, takes down Honkono though, NMX gets very low. It seems like he will also go down before Alarak even comes into the fight. That's a 2 for 1.
So you lost game number 2 basically twice. You were crushed in the first version. PC problems caused the reset. The second game was even more one-sided. and keeping morale high in a situation like this for a team that, for most of its members, don't have a ton of Heroes of the Storm experience. They have Phase 1, but many of the members of Tempest have played on international stages, have won international titles. It's tough to keep yourself composed in a situation like this when you're in what could be the final game of the map. It's the final map of the series. And it's the last match of the week. You've been preparing all week for this. It didn't go as planned. See if they can turn it around, G-Clef, but
good
feels
eyes
rough.
coming out from lockdown. He spots Zeratul standing right there. Wants to get that silence. Even Zeratul has to be careful after the blink. Seems like lockdown wants to bring in Zeratul after the blink. There's a silence. Not enough damage. Actually gets a lot of damage onto Sign from NMX. Good trade onto both frontliners.
A lot of split soak coming in for Falstad in the mid lane, but Dahaka is doing just the same, if not more, in the bot lane. Already working on that keep wall. Looks like Falstad's going to rotate up first. Uther had to back because he got super low there on mana, so he's not there. So it's going to be a win here for the first wave of defenders on the Shrine. Falstad's still soaking bot now as we see Dahaka move mid. He's going to clear up and get this extra free EXP. So they get the EXP lead and they get the first Punisher, barring some sort of weird rotation from Raven. I mean, it's just definitely, it's impossible now. 32 of 40.
I think
they're going to get the neutral cap though.
Yeah, I think they're being safe, and rather than just contesting for the Shrine, which they think it's going to be very hard in terms of sustain, because sustain against Vala, Ariel, and all that, and you have Uther on your side. Your cooldown on your healing is so long, so rather to fight and contest for Shrine, which seems very hard, taking the cam and go for the rotational seems like a very smart decision by Raven right now.
Well, gonna get this first top fort very low. We'll get the sentry tower as well. But it is going to be the overall defense here. Not the craziest, most successful Punisher we've ever seen.
Ooh, Zeratul's on the other side. Can you actually... Let's see the journey.
I think he's going to get away. He's not rooted. He's at full health based on the UI, so HA2 doesn't go up to try to chase him or anything. Just dove deep there, perhaps getting some scouting done. They are going to look to try to invade this, though. But against the Vala-Ariel duo, will they find success? The Detainment Strike immediately. Hyde still goes down, but you got to respect that level of reaction. Lockdown's going to get caught here, too. That's a great way to bring yourself right back into the game. Smart invade, good decision-making. Zeratul was following Arthas around the entire time. They had vision. They knew this was going on. Very well played.
Exactly what they need to do. The first time they have EXP lead over Tempest, they need to snowball this right now and keep this momentum going. And after 7, Darvish also have wave clear. You saw the shot call. Even Falstad came right in just in case they were in. It breaks into a big team fight. The shot calling seems to be on point. Raven has to snowball right now.
A little bit of harass coming in here for Hamlin. Risky play, but we'll get away with it. And we're seeing Alarak go into building into his Q, his big silence coming across for levels 4 and 7 for the extra damage. And, you know, I want to say the coordination for the Alarak play has not been that great for Tempest this game. We've seen a few attempted chains with the telekinesis going into the root or the tongue grab. That mostly hasn't been too successful. So the Shrine has started. We are going to see that and be activated now. It's in the bot lane where Tempest has control. They are pushing. Big rotation coming down here for Raven, though, to try to punish this. Once again, Hyde is the target. Hamlin goes in, gets the kill. Very aggressive positioning here. I want to say careless on the side of Tempest. We do see the Divine Shield coming over as 10 is reached. Hamlin is protected. He lives through all the damage. Sanctification allows him to come back in and get another heal. And that's going to be the 6-3 score now for Raven. Tempest still doesn't have the 10.
Exactly how you should. Team fighting and getting that one kill, hit level 10, and Hamlin made a big play to just blink in, use that mobile play just to make sure they don't escape from the fight. So they got more kills off of that. having Odin stalled lots of times, exactly how you have a team fight with this kind of team comp.
Oh, here's the stun going on to Darvish. Does get the barrel roll over the wall. Close call there. Raven will still, of course, gain this Punisher. It's an arcane Punisher, which is nice for them. Continuing the momentum you've been talking about. Feels like they've definitely got the momentum on their side, and the morale is higher. They're making coordinated picks. It's really been Hamlin who's been the MVP, looking for the kills onto Hyde when he's overextending. Using the Vorpal Blade to secure that kill, having the vision, having the spot, making the shout call to go into that invade where they were able to steal the camp in that last team fight that they won. These are the things that Hamlin is doing that are giving Raven a good shot at coming back in this series.
Raven Science taking tons of damage. You may actually go down, gets super healed though from Ariel. And they do have 10, lots of heroics already used. Tonkono just dropping the rain.
Big gust.
Trying to disengage.
Well, I think trying to isolate Sign there potentially. Able to capitalize on it though. He is somewhat isolated as Honkono gets the solo kill onto Tyrael. This is going to be Raven now backing away. Got the entire fort, so they take a big structural lead from this. And they're looking to take that level 13 talent tier advantage.
Yeah, they are still leading it, and Darvish came in at the right moment for the disengage. And I'm not sure what happened to Tyrael. I guess she was trying to leave the scene, and Vala caught onto him and got the kill at the very end.
Well, regardless, Raven still maintains that lead now. And it looks like it's going to be the battle of the globals on the top lane now. Big rotation up, though, and Raven does not have vision of this. Darvish, if he stays, okay, there's a danger ping going down. Oh, but he doesn't listen, and he's going to get caught here. There's a telekinesis into the silence. No barrel roll. Well, that silence is active, and Darvish will get taken out. You saw the ping there. I think it was an assist ping, but they definitely meant to say, danger, warning, we don't have vision. We're taking our siege camp in the bot lane. We don't know where they are. Still didn't heed the ping and gets punished for it.
And Hamlin had to use Vocal Blade. Void Prison for himself being too aggressive there. And he knew, as soon as he got some hits from Vala, he knew that he had to back off. They were supposed to really, they were looking for the kill, but the coordination, the positioning of his teammates were a little bit off. He was a little bit rushed going in. Ended up using his own heroic there. That's another cooldown of 67 seconds.
Yeah, well, gotta take what you can to survive. Coming over here, Sign is potentially gonna grab the root. Ooh, misses it though. Hamlin should be able to get out of here. He's got Blink available. The idea is to get the silence to pair those together. Falsey getting a lot of free soak bot. Raven still stays up an entire level in EXP right now. But they, the top push too is not dealt with here by Tempest. They're losing EXP there. They might even lose that fort actually. So Raven having the better usage of global here with Falstad, which is actually unusual. Most Korean teams are highly prioritizing the Dahaka over the Falstad for globals. And Darvish is going to go all the way down to this keep wall.
That's right. They know that Tempest wants to fight. They are starting on the shrine, so there is no way for him to actually... He can just keep on soaking here. There is no reason for him to go fight and die from all that CCs, because they are still ahead of level. And there's a root coming onto Tigers. That was dangerous.
Well, he's not here for the fight now. He's not in range for the tether for the flight. Void Prison is used. You see the big silence coming down onto Tyrael. Tempest pops out of the Void Prison. These Divine Shield is used onto Diong, unfortunately, not onto Zeratul, which is where he wanted to do it. Maybe a misclick there, but it's going to cost them big. Sanctification used now on the retreat. That's a long cooldown. 100 more seconds till that's available. And Falstad just split soaks mid. Darvish actually low on health throughout that too because he ate the keep wall shots when he was pushing bot, perhaps just to eat some ammo. But anyway, because he did not join the fight. They were outnumbered. The Void was mistimed and the Divine Shield was on the wrong target. This is a Punisher now, a Frozen Punisher. Or actually it's a Mortar Punisher for Tempest.
Falstad got caught trying to outsoak on the bottom. I guess Dahaka and Arthas had the CCs to cut Falstad off of there. And this Punisher can actually bring the key because no Falstad, no Void Prison for defensive usage. All the heroics on cooldown for another 30 seconds plus here.
Well, this is going to be a defended keep. but this gives Tempest back up to level 16. They're going to be around the exact same time as Raven, despite being behind on EXP for the majority of this game. That was the fight they needed to bring it back, to take a lead once again. With this keep wall, or sorry, fort wall, they will get the 16 first. H82 is going to go split soak bot. Just wait for the minion wave. So he could use his Dark Swarm here to take out the healing well.
Now they've caught up the level from team fighting, which Raven should be really not trying to team fight, because they know the sustained healing coming out from Ariel and Vala's ability to team fight is so strong on the Shrine, where they also have so much CCs on. And here's another kill onto Tyrael. I guess he was also silenced. He couldn't really escape from there.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Darvish has been caught a few times on a few shaky rotations, bad pathing mistakes. So that's going to be a stolen cap. They can now take the neutral cap, invade that, then rotate back to their own cap. Daka looks to try to save the top fort, but I think he might be a bit too late. Yep, it goes down. So that's one nice thing for Raven here. They got that extra EXP, so they're still staying even in terms of experience. So they're dealing with the mid push. Falstad is there. Darvish to clear up the Impaler cap. See if Tempest wants to rotate back to get their own cap or just push with this one. Looks like they might want to look for a gank. Taking away all the hope there with that one move of harass. Always good to see. Hamlin's been the MVP of this game for Raven for sure.
Yeah, Hamlin making the right moves, and his Void Prison has been pretty good when it comes to team fight. He has been limiting at least 2 every single time. And I think it's more of the teamwork coming out from the other members. Sometimes Divine Shield missing, Sanctification used a little bit late, or just not dropped at all. And getting, of course, getting picked off even before the team fight seems to be one of the biggest problems right now for Raven. The map reading or the shot calling seems to be a little bit off, and Tempest knowing that, just punishing them hard whenever they go alone. Have the Haka for the grab, Arthas for the root. Even silence is coming out now. Tyrael can't even really press on that R button when he's silenced.
Well, this is one of the 2 shrine locations that would have been bad for Raven, because this one basically goes directly to the keep wall. The top one would have gone directly to the keep. Mid is the one they wanted, just in case they lose it. But we're going to see the big commitment in here. H82 comes in, no longer going to be split soaking. They have the top cap that's going to pressure the keep eventually while this fight goes on. Void Prison gets the double here, including Ariel. They needed to get the Honkono down during this time, during this window. He hits a great rain, but they will get the kill. Here's the Gust away. Nicely done. That's how you use a Void Prison. Pull the Ariel away. Take away the production of Vala. She goes down, which is part of the reason why we don't normally see Vala in comps like this with the solo support. When Ariel's removed like this, you win the team fight. Raven gets exactly what they wanted.
That is the perfect team fight that you want. See how Hamlin just comes around from the side, Void 2 every single time. And without that, Raven has a hard time. And when they get a pick, when they think they have the advantage, they use the Gust to make everyone disengage at this perfect timing.
Sign way overextending here too. We'll see if the Uther Sun goes off. Doesn't quite get it. Could have gotten the double stun with Benediction, so really close call. This is an Arcane Punisher too. This could definitely do some serious damage to the keep. Honkono's not up for 6 more seconds. We see that Falstad is dealing with the pressure. No damage to the top keep from that camp, and he's trying to soak for 20 as they do this. Can fly it at any time. Gust up in 2 seconds. See, Dahaka's actually hiding to try to punish the retreat.
Yeah, I saw that on the minimap too. Dahaka's trying to look for his angle to come in from the side.
Kono's already super low though, he goes down. Perhaps he waited too long.
Sanctification dropped already a little bit too early. Maybe they can core from here. Let's see. Dahaka comes in from behind. Sign gets very low but does survive.
Well, they dove deep, but they didn't actually kill the keep yet. So couldn't actually core at that moment in time, but lack of DPS here from Honkono is going to be a big problem. They can still try to core from this. They have Gust. They have the Void Prison, they have 20. It's going to be X's Frenzy's coming out here for Falstad. Doesn't take the Epic Mallet, he wants the extra damage right now. They want to end this game. Void Prison already removes 2. Deong, insanely low. There's the Gust to move Ariel out of the fight. Honkono hasn't respawned yet. Deong's going to be the first to die, but NMX is doing so much damage. He's rooted now, not hitting the core. 40% on that core right now. Another pick here. Will this be enough? H82, very, very low. Hamlin dives onto the core.
5%, big red button. That's 0 game going to Raven.
They take game number 3. They keep their hopes alive in this series. Morale was low going into game 3. They had a draft that was better, I feel, overall than the draft of Tempest. They had a standard draft, they had the globals. The play of Hamlin, though, the Void Prisons, the constant harass, punishing Honko's positioning, punishing Hyde's positioning. These are the ways they won that game number 3. And Hamlin deserves a medal for that game. Don't care if they lose the next one, and it's just a 3-1. He's my MVP for tonight. That was fantastic Zeratul play.
That's exactly how you use Zeratul, and the use of Void Prison. It's not so easy to look for that angle, the perfect timing, but he has done it almost every single team fight. He has overextended a little bit, got caught off a few times, but every single team fight, the use of Void Prison makes it up, makes it more than up, and he is the MVP for the game for sure.
I think this might even actually draw some target bans going into this next game, maybe in the second ban phase. We're going to take a look at the map, of course, fairly soon. Wow, I'm a little bit blown away by the Zeratul play. The mistakes on the side of Tempest as well, positioning mistakes on Sign, on the Artless with no escapes, overextending there. Dahaka trying to look for the big money tongue grab there at the end, coming into the fight very late. 20 was reached there off of the push, split push from Falstad, and the game was won off that Void. NMX just unkillable there. Wow.
That was close call too. If that Odin could not do the last bit of damage, I think that could have been super, super close. And they made it work with the Void Prison and Hamlin hard carrying the team, of course. And Darvish's Falstad seems to be pretty okay too. Of course, he died a few times, but the guts for the disengage to keep his teammates safely, and the soak onto the bottom lane always. That really kept the EXP up for his teammates. And I think he's a decent Falstad. I think it's almost my first or second time seeing Darvish on Falstad here too.
Yeah, I mean, he was range flex on Hero back in the day, and is now range flex moving into Raven. So he's going to be playing the Hero quite a bit if Falstad becomes more meta. We saw it already many times. Cursed Hollow is going to be game number 4 here, the map pick of Raven. First ban will go to Tempest. They'll have their second first ban of the series and of the tournament. So, see what they decide to draft. When they had it in the game 1, they prioritized the Genji and the Li Ming. On this map, the global play, though, is going to be very important. We'll see if Dahaka gets through the draft, as it was actually oddly absent for the BOE, even though it's a 2-player map. Did not see him there.
Well, Raven was rarely, almost never a team that goes for the global though. But with Darvish in right now, with that Falstad pick, and maybe sometimes Dahaka, even though in phase number 1 they picked Dahaka, but the usage of the global was not so perfect. But with having Darvish in, with the change of roster, you just saw a game where they won against Tempest because they had the global soak, they had the lead, they know how to snowball into a game, and that's exactly how you do it. Let's see how Raven try to come on top on this first Hollow, game number 4.
Uther will be the first ban here for Tempest. And for Raven, see what they want to remove now. Last time we saw this, they removed the Anubarak that was on Battlefield of Eternity. See if they decide to ban the Genji instead because of the priority of that for Raven. Sorry, for Tempest. Going to be the Anub again. So very mirrored draft from game number 1. Still continues to be the case.
It's the big Genji. And now they're less likely to... They can still go for the global later on. But with this pick Raven, they can... If they want to go harden and do double global, they can go Falstad and Dahaka from the beginning, limiting lockdown zero pool also, and not letting him being on Falstad. That would actually push them to kind of at ETCs for stage dive or all the way up to Illidan for the hunt to actually catch up to the global. So having both taking both global seems also as an okay card here.
Well, on BOE, they committed to the Stitches Malfurion in this rotation. I don't think we're going to see that on Cursed Hollow, just not as effective. You're not going to be having as many hook opportunities as you would on BOE. So I like where you're saying either the Haka or the Falstad would be nice for global. And they're going to wait for quite some time before we get into this one. Could be Zeratul as well. Illidan Abathur, a very map-specific niche pick here, and I like it. Does give a lot of time for Tempest to find the counter, to find the answers, because they showed it so soon. Ooh. We might see the Arthas pick here.
Usually, if you go for Illidan Abathur, it's the later picks. You don't really show it from the very beginning, because Tempest can literally form a team comp against Illidan, not bring in the Lily, bring in some blinds. Like Cassia can also blind Illidan when he comes in. You can have Arthas as your frontliner. When Illidan dives in, limits all the attack speed, and also damages Illidan so hard. Reduced all the movement speed too. So let's see Tempest, after watching those first two picks, how they counter pick Illidan Abathur, which seems super strong on this map.
I think Arthas Tyrael is not out of the question. Tyrael pairs well with the Genji. You have the extra stun on the Illidan if you want to go Judgment. Li Ming, though, prioritize, but they will take Arthas with this.
Of course. They
can now ban the Tyrael in this phase, so the Li Ming is obviously good because the burst is real. You could delay tribute turn-ins, or sorry, collection, the channeling of the tributes. You can hit Illidan, whose evasion will not affect that range damage, including Disintegrate. So I like this. Is kind of how we've seen the drafting coming in for MVP Miracle, the high prioritization of Li Ming no matter what, basically. So the second ban here, it's tough for Raven.
It's tough. Maybe you just, the easy ban, I guess, is Malfurion is the top support, unless you are thinking of taking it yourselves. Because the Malfurion root and connecting with Arthas root, that's double root already. And against, when you have Illidan on your team, you don't want that to be the dangerous source against Illidan.
I think if they ban Malfurion, the Tempest just bans Rhaegar and says, haha, take your Karzim Palm for your Illidan. I'm going to ban ETC for the CCs that can come in for Illidan here. Not a whole lot of interrupts from Mosh or what Raven is going to draft into. Even if they had the Tyrael, there's not much there.
ETC ban is it's a weird one for sure. Of course, they had a super hard time against ETC in Spider Queen, but on Cursed, it's not as much. So I definitely think that they went around a lot on the second ban.
Tassadar over the Tyrael here for protection on the Illidan. Don't want to allow the extra lifesteal and empower Illidan to be essentially unkillable. This means we'll almost 100% see the Tyrael for Raven here. What kind of ranged damage? All right, it's been a long night. We will see for Raven is the big next question.
If you're not gonna go full in Illidan Abathur, they can still Zeratul. I mean, go for Li Ming. We just saw crazy clone Zeratul going for Falstad and Li Ming in series number 1. They can still do that together if they want to go all dive in. But to talk about more balanced team comp though, they can still bring in some mage. Kalthas is also an option, but let's see what to counter Genji and Li Ming. We need some Tyrael. Have that spell damage, yes. Spare armor, I mean.
Well, I think Tyrael is really about the sanctification here. You're going to have the Illidan hunt in, most likely. You might even go Metamorphosis with Abathur. Either way, the sanctification empowers Illidan when he dives in, gives him the extra shields. He's got the attack speed buff from the Abathur symbiote. Then later on, we'll have the Abathur clone coming in. All these things will really be strengthened by the Tyrael pick, just like the old days. So I think the Tyrael is a must. Obviously, the spell damage reduction is very much a bonus against Li Ming. As we move into the final phase here for Tempest, maybe look to the Malfurion for the root to take away the mobility of Illidan. It's going to have to be really good accuracy on those. Brightwing, I was going to say, is the other one that's specifically to counter the Illidan with the polymorphs. That is what they go with. Not really a Karazim situation, not really viable here.
So rather than giving blind, you can also polymorph to put on extra damage to not let Illidan escape anywhere for the time being. Raven, they've been hiding this last pick though. They still need a ranged DPS or a mage of some sort. Or they can literally go all in Illidan with even Zarya coming in possibly.
I like Greymane here. He works well with the Tyrael, he works well with the dive, he's got good range damage. Can be cloned as well. Right wing polymorphs, one, you Sanctification, and the Greymane engages him with Go for the Throat. Could even be a Wisdom Duelist comp. So I'm leaning towards Greymane. Other mages, Lunara, something that we could see. Does really well against the Genji. As long as her positioning is good against Li Ming and the Arthas, then shouldn't be too big of a problem. But they are going to go all in. No traditional ranged DPS on the side of Raven. It's all melees here. Zarya to close it out. Our first Zarya of HGC Korea's Phase 2.
Compared to Phase 1, we have not really seen Zarya at all, but this is Illidan all in. Can they make it work, though? That will be the question.
That's the big question. Raven with a surprise comeback win on game number 3 on Infernal Shrines. On Cursed Hollow, their opponent's map pick. Can they make this Genji all-in comp work and force a game 5? Let's find out right now. In blue, Team Tempest. Honkono on the Genji. He's currently 3-0. Hyde on his old Brightwing. H82 on Arthas. Sign on Muradin. And Lockdown on Li Ming.
And in red, Raven. Garvis on Zarya. Hamlin on Illidan. NMX on Avatar. Diong on Tyrael. And Chom on Rehgar.
So Zarya, I feel like, should definitely build into auto attacks. Either that or Grenade. These are the ways that she can add some extra DPS into the fights, especially in range. They're going to push really hard with level 1. She is going to go into the auto attacks. At level 1, she was holding it for a moment. We see Hyde immediately teleport down. Power of globals here.
Tempest knew that they were going to go for any lane. So Brightwing was just standing in the middle, knowing that, and they sent Li Ming to the bottom. They knew something was coming. Great defense coming out from the start.
The problem with drafting all-in into this Illidan is that you did it knowing, and I say you, but I mean Raven, did it knowing that there was going to be a Brightwing on their opponent's side. That will just completely nullify Illidan for several seconds. This Abathur is not going to save the Zarya who gets caught here either. When the shields come down, and the symbiote comes in, and Illidan dives forward, that's when the Brightwing polymorph is going to come out. Obviously, in the face of Sanctification, that won't be the case, but in every other scenario, it's going to be very difficult to make the Illidan pick work. Amon may have gone a bit too deep on this one, too. Does have the evade temporarily, but there's the kill. Stormbolt to secure it. 2-0 here so far for Tempest, already in the early laning phase.
Early Afterhat does not do too much damage or nor give protection to Illidan. And without Zarya, he did go a little too far away from his side, so that's a kill. And of course, I think Brightwing Pig is brilliant here coming in. We saw the CCs connecting and Poly right after when the CC was over. Hyde on Brightwing. You can always trust him, of course.
Soon we'll see Shuriken Mastery coming out from Honkono again here at 4. Yep, locks it in. Greater Polymorph for Brightwing, so everything you expect to see. Upgrading the Reverberation for Muradin. The larger Tempest for Arthas. All the things that you would build against an Illidan. Dominance, because Li Ming only has one talent at level 4. So...
Hey, what about Orb?
Zay's Vengeance? I think that's what it's called.
Triumph Vibrate, isn't it?
Triumvirate?
Yes.
Pretty sure both those talents are removed, G-Clef. It's only Dominance. Dominance 100% pick rate in Korea. That's all I know. Well, Raven has the Feral Heart, so building it to sustain here with the Wolf Run for Rhaegar, the Wolf build as I call it. It's the build I pick going into it here. As we saw earlier this evening, I like it. The sustain build. H82 gets caught here actually and dove upon right now. The channel is going on at the same time, so even if they get the pick, they will lose the tribute. It looks like H82 dies to the mine there. Good coordination actually for Raven. Calling out, let him go. If he walks that way, he's going to die to the Toxic Nest. So they actually pick up the double here. Like to see moves like that as Honkono split pushes top with a Siege Giant Cap. They get the tribute. Still 2 picks for Raven, which almost catches them up in EXP.
That's exactly what they want to go for. The tribute will go to Tempest, though, even though they won't fight. They're really going for the macro. They're not going to let them have the team fight. They're going around it, and they have the counters to against Illidan here. Arthas, Brightwing, everything together. But when they're all together, this time they caught 2 off guard. But when it's a 5v5, I think Illidan has to be a little bit more careful when he dives in when there's Arthas and all the CCs available on the other side.
I mean, you got bullied in the top lane there just for a moment. The rotation's coming in faster. Darvish committing to several grenades here to try to slow down the tribute channel. He is successful temporarily. Arthas is channeling it now. They're going to try to dive these turrets. Hyde will get picked off yet again, but this is a trade for a pick, whereas the bigger picture is going to be the tribute comes in. They also got the solo cap here when Hyde was able to take it. Remember, he's playing Rhaegar or Brightwing. They get the first cap here, and then now they're just going to clear this up. They have Curse Point 1 pick away from getting the curse. Obviously, that's what Curse Point means.
Yeah, of course, Brightwing just used the teleport before going down, so it will take a little bit longer to go all the way up to the top lane, but of course, having two tributes and you are 1 away when Raven does not have any right now. Having the curse, of course, pushes pressures all lanes together. So for Tempest, this is a good news for sure when they have the macro control.
So we're reaching level 10 here about the same time for these two. Raven getting those picks means that the EXP is really even right now. So when you have this situation, no one can really boss at the timing you'd like to. Obviously, if Tempest got bossed, it would lead to the curse no matter what. They just don't have enough of a lead to try to go for it right now. It's actually red side tribute spawn at top. This is a favorable tribute location for Raven. They're going to rotate in. Abathur's going to body soak in the bush in the bot lane to try to help them catch up. They're about maybe 20% behind in EXP right now. Just need to not overextend trying to get this. Lockdown's already found and picked. The teleportation in, the phase shift way too late here for Brightwing. He's going to come in for a second one. Polymorph is good though. On to Hamlin. He does escape for the time being. Body soaking continuing in the bot lane. And Raven's about to take an EXP lead.
That's right. So much shielding available for Hamlin. He can go in, dive in, and even survive right after all the poly. There's a shield coming in from Zarya and the Avatar. So with lots of protection, they can fight pretty strong. And of course, Lockdown overstepping a little bit, not being a little bit cautious of what Illidan can do when he's stuck right next to you, and of course, hitting those skill shots when Liming is going, Illidan is going around you is pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, we do see the push away of Abathur in the bot lane. It's going to be a boss for a boss here. There's a boss clear, pretty solid for both sides. Tempest has the better siege, and Raven has really quick clear with Zarya going into the auto attack build. And of course Illidan. So they're actually going to attack with this. I like that they knew they got the boss first. They're going to actually try to push with this. They're going to get this wall down immediately. This is so strong when you have Illidan and Zarya together to clear this very quick. They're going to get the Siege Giant Cap. So it actually forces the reaction of Tempest. They're going to go up here. They leave Brightwing down to get the extra soak in the bot lane to work on that fort. This is actually really nice for Tempest too because the tribute comes in at the exact same point where the boss is, so the boss isn't getting split push pressured on. Brightwing already teleports in. Here, they're going to dive in. Illidan in the front lines. NMX comes in with the clone. Sanctification used. Great usage here. Total of vulnerability. Dragonblade not able to do much for Honkono here. He's pushed away by Zarya's Heroic. Now with the deflect. Maybe they could turn this fight around. Ancestral still available.
Does do a lot of damage, but there's the first kill. Reset's coming out for Lockdown. He's getting the heal back with the dominance too. There's going to be a wipe, And just leaving Illidan now with the quality. Last one.
That was all won, really, by the positioning of Tempest and the resets coming out. Without those resets for lockdown, this would not have been a one fight. Really good reaction there to the clone as well. The sanctification was beautiful, but the splits were real for Tempest. They were super low.
Also, the expulsion zone was really good, leaving Genji out of the fight on top. He was trying to come in with the Dragon Blade, but he was popping off because of the expulsion zone all the time. Removed a lot of damage. Could have went for Raven, that was close. I think that was not like a... It was a 4 kill to 0 at the end, but that could have turned around with Hamlin surviving a little bit more. Yeah,
the fight looked one-sided when you looked at the kill feed afterwards, when you looked at the UI, but if you watched the fight, you could see just how close it was. Raven's so close to making it happen with the expulsion zone. And the sanctification really well used, the clone timing as well. So Metamorphosis was the choice, obviously, to try to have the longer sustained fights as we just saw there. I think this is the better choice, especially against Polymorph. You hunt in and get polyed immediately, then that's disastrous. So Brightwing's getting some split, split pushing, split soaking top. That extra global. The keep in the bot lane is actually already under attack by minions. As the curse expires here, we're going to see the dive in. Here's the teleport coming in from Hyde. They're going to try to turn this around. Poly goes down. Sanctification, though, still goes off here with the Teriel. DeYoung is able to make it happen. That's the pick on the lockdown. No more real ranged DPS here. No resets. The Ancestral here is good. DeYoung still goes down, but this is already a one fight for Raven. Honkoto pops the Dragon Blade, but there's just no way they can get the damage done here. Trying to chase down Chum, though. Will he make it happen? He's trying. The Blink Heal comes in. There's the Poly. Honkoto gets away. Darver's at full energy. He's stunned. Does get healed up here one more time, but he's going to finally fall. What a turnaround. What mechanical play coming out yet again for Honkoto. Dives in at the end. Woo. And that's another turnaround and the full 4-man wipe. What a sick fight from Honkoto, though.
That was a crazy, crazy fight for both sides. It's, again, 4 kills to 0, but Illidan did so much work. Focus to 1 actually took down Li Ming, but Honkoto turning everything around with the Dragon Blade, escaping at the right moment, Cleanse coming in at the perfect time from Hyde, the heals, the Blink Heal. This team fight was amazing mechanically from both sides. I gotta give it to both sides here. But of course, Tempest won the fight and leading in 1.5 level lead ahead.
Well, 16 is on the cusp here. This is going to be really big for them, especially with Mirror Ball coming out to add that extra damage to finish off the Illidan or the Illidan clone with the extra magic missiles. Holding it currently, as it was under attack. We're going to see landing momentum taken here. So, heavy impact. The stun coming out at level 16. And actually, it's a full teleport build for Li Ming with how much she's been dove upon here. We're going to see Diamond Skin.
We haven't seen that for a long time. I don't think we've seen that even once this year. It was the last year's build when Li Ming just came out, I think.
Well, it's extra protection against the dive. She's struggled in some of these fights, and you can get a lot of shields when you get the Calamity damage coming in. You get the resets, and you get the extra Diamond Skins coming over, the extra protection. So a situation that calls for it, I'd say. And everything else pretty standard, but the extra stun coming out from Muradin can really help turn the fights. Muradin's already somewhat of a soft counter with his attack speed slow onto Illidan. If he can make those happen consistently, the Storm Bolt's coming in, and now the extra Dwarf Toss to get the stun. Darvish actually taking some serious damage here, baiting Hyde in, however. Hyde's going to look for the teleport. Does get it off, but has to use it for a fight.
This is the problem coming up from Raven. The reason why Genji was allowed to do all the Dragon Blade damage is because Raven does not have any CCs. Genji can do whatever he wants to, just like you saw Brightwing just escaping because there's no 6C CC at all, except for, I guess, Expulsion Zone is part of a CC that Raven can have, but that's it. Nothing else.
It's going to be a boss for a boss, the faster trade for Tempest, just slightly. Their boss will go directly to the keep, whereas Raven's boss will have to deal with the keep wall. We are 1-1 on tributes right now. The next spawn location will actually determine a lot. A little bit of RNG coming into this one for sure. Raven decides to defend because this goes directly to the keep. They don't want to push because Tempest could buy a lot of time on the defense there, ended up with a massive exchange in their favor. The Tribute is at top. Abathur's actually going to look over to sneak over and get it. NMX with a risky play here, but if he gets away with it, they will be on Curse Point. He's going to need to help defend, though. He's going to need to put the symbiotes down. Hamlin's diving into the backline. Lockdown, even with the diamond skin here, taking a lot of damage. Ancestral fails to connect, though. Tyrael's down. Sanctification didn't go off either. Lockdown gets another diamond skin here with the reset.
And it's a clone onto Zarya this time, and the real Zarya is already gone. Hamlin is the only one without the clone on the side. Just jumps onto the boss and barely survives, but it seems like the game is already over, though.
Well, this is going to be GG. The last fight taken here. Abathur will get the tribute, but that is not going to matter in the end. The poly's coming down here onto the clone, and that is going to be the core going down. Boss will take it out. The keep being damaged earlier definitely didn't do any favors to Raven. The missed Ancestral, the missed Sanctification, these mistakes will cost Raven game number 4. A hard-fought game 3. They made the comeback on Infernal Shrines. They were looking for a game 5. They had the momentum in their favor. They all-ined on the Illidan comp. Even into a Brightwing, they made some team fights work. But the last one, the one that mattered most, that's where they fell flat.
Hey, game 1 and 2, I gotta say, they looked almost disastrous in terms of team play and everything else, starting from the draft. But after, I guess, something happened, and then after the small break in between game number 2 and starting from game number 3, they made it work. They brought in False Death for the global. They had a theme, even in game 5. Illidan comp, all-in Illidan comp, which we don't see too often in Korea at all. Kind of worked in some team fights, but not even having a CC really costed them big at the end.
Brightwing polymorphs really being really powerful in those fights. The targeting that we saw into the Tyrael stopped the Sanctification. The Ancestral doesn't go off. These are the moments that cost them the big fight in the end. Rotation-wise, I feel like Tempest had a slight edge on Cursed Hollow, but not like they played really badly. We had the Rhaegar coming in to take the cap. Solo Rhaegar cap. Good timings of the caps. Good tribute deny tactics there. We saw the auto attack build coming out from Zarya. Perhaps the grenade build could have been stronger for tribute denial, but they needed the extra DPS. So I like how they played the draft. I thought it was a bit all in, especially when you're down on match point against you. It's risky to make a choice like that, but who's your MVP of the series, G-Clef?
I actually want to pick an MVP from Raven this time if I can.
You can't, but I'll let you say it.
Hamlin.
Of course.
Yes.
The Zeratul play.
He has shown another, his inner hidden potential today, I think, which we have never seen throughout phase number 1. I think he has what it takes to actually step onto H82, the missing power on that team now, and I think he can step in. And from Tempest side though, they're all MVPs, but Honkono on the Genji, I think he will get the MVP this time. Last time was Hyde, I believe.
Yeah. So I would have to agree with you. Lockdown had some cool plays. He went into the diamond skin there at the end for the extra protection. But I'll have to agree. I think Hong Kong's Genji will probably get it, and I thought it was really impressive. That sick play we saw in Cursed Hollow where they turned the fight around, where he had like 10% health left and then came in to get the heals, the blink heal. So we are going to jump into that interview now. Find out who it is that we will interview.
Let's see.
It is H82.
자, 저희 인터뷰로 다시 돌아왔습니다. 먼저 축하합니다.
Back in the interview.
우승에
이어서 2연승. 3 matches won already.
자, 본인 소개 간단하게 좀 부탁드리도록 하겠습니다.
네, 템페스트에서 서버 탱커를 맡고 있는
I'm subtank in
H82라고
Tempest.
아,
I'm
반갑습니다.
H82.
템페스트에서
네.
네.
And now you are
서브 탱크를 맡고 있는
in
해파리
Tempest.
선수예요.
일단은 뭐 제가
때문에.
질문하고 싶은 건 딱 있어요.
네.
네,
course, King has an
3세트에서
interview.
이 알라라크.
Question.
네, 어떤 식으로 픽이 됐고
Here,
저희가
Alarak.
확인한 장면에서는
네.
How did you guys come
알라라크가
up
픽이
with the
되는
pick?
동시에 약간 이렇게 손짓이 나왔었거든요.
네.
아니,
네,
이랬었는데.
나는 좀 싫다 아니면은 뭐
We also
약간
saw on the camera
사양하겠다,
someone
거부하겠다 이런
waving
움직임이었는데
like
뭐
they were
대화 내용이
refusing.
굉장히 궁금해요.
For the
저희 팀이
the last pick.
그 의견이 좀 갈리긴 했었거든요.
네.
그
Of course, we had
알라라크에
lots of
대한
opinions for the last pick.
저랑 홍코노 그 형은 알라라카 좋다고 생각했는데
Myself and Onkono said Alarak
나머지
seems to be
형들은
very good.
아니라고
But
생각해가지고
the rest
네.
그
did not say so.
조합 미스가 좀 났던 것 같아요. 그 부분에서.
So I think we had some
중간중간에
team
특히
comp issues there.
초중반까지는
It
또
did not
알라라카가
really
좀
come in
애매했었던,
together.
네.
그런 상황이 좀 있었는데
네.
그때도 뭐 서로 당연히 뭐 믿음이 좀 있었겠죠.
네, 우리 그 뭐야 락다운 형이
네.
알라라카 자신 있다고 해가지고
But
네.
the lockdown still had
좀더
confidence
게임 잘
going in
풀어갈
with
수 있을-
Alarak.
있을 줄 알았는데 근데 그 전체적인 문제는 알라라카에 있던 게 아닌 것 같아요.
네,
I don't think the problem was all on Alarak. though.
조합 이해도가 좀 낮아져.
It was more of our
그러면은
understanding of the
이
team comp.
질문과 이어서 알라라카 하면 사실 해파리.
네.
네, 굉장히 유명해요.
네.
레벨도 굉장히 높은 걸로 또 다 알려져
And
있는데
Alarak,
네.
of
왜
course, you've
하지 않았나요?
shown a lot of
그
times. Why did you not
그냥
play it though this time?
저희 팀에 알라라카든 뭐든 그 좀 잘하는 그 피지컬이 좀 많이 필요한 캐릭터를 잘하는 선수가 많아가지고
네.
We have lots of
그냥 돌려가면서
players who
저보다
can
잘할
actually
수-
play all the
잘할 수도
mechanical
있어요,
heroes.
어떤 형이.
저보다 잘할 수도 있다라고 얘기할 때 말을 굉장히 더듬었어요.
저보다 잘할 수도 있어요.
앞으로 뭐
And
그
I
알라라카
thought
등장한다고
Lockdown was
저는
the better
굉장히
one
보고
on
싶은 그런
Alarak
선수라서
today.
네, 이렇게 물어봤습니다.
자 레이븐을 상대를 해보니 적으로 상대해보니까 좀 어때요 느낌이?
Of course, how does it feel to
약간
go against
한
Raven
세트를
now?
따이고 나서 좀
지고
지고
나서.
나서
네.
좀 그 약간 긴장이 좀 됐어요.
그래요?
course,
losing
원래는 쉽게
a game off
것
them
같았었는데.
네,
It
그 약간
really got us
팀상성이라는 게좀
Caught off guard
네.
and made us
놀랐어요.
nervous for a bit.
그래요?
네.
그렇다면 이어서
네.
템페스트를 이제 레이븐일 때 이겨봤잖아요.
네.
And
근데
you
오늘은
defeated
진짜
Tempest as
템페스트로서
Raven
레이븐을
last
상대했어요.
season.
본인이 레이븐에 있을 때와
네.
지금의 레이븐
And compare
어떤가요?
Raven when you were in
그냥
Raven
어디가 더
and
나은
today's
거보다는
Raven.
그냥 느낌이
Which
좀
one
어땠나요?
네.
seems stronger or better?
그냥 제가
많이
있을 때랑
순화했네요.
비슷한 것 같아요.
그럼요.
제가 있을 때랑 비슷했던 것 같아요.
비슷하다?
그래요?
I think it's about the same when I was back in
그렇다는
Raven
얘기는
right now.
순위권이 굉장히 아래쪽에 있을 것 같다는 느낌일까요?
네.
Is that also
알겠습니다.
referring to
네,
that
네,
Raven will
대답을
be
저희가
on the
듣지
bottom of
않았을까
the chart?
생각되기도 하고. 어쨌든
네,
뭐
H82
레이븐은 상대로 승리를 가져갔고
So
그리고
it's not to answer that.
템페스트가 이번 시즌 굉장히 강력하다는 이야기를 듣고 있어요.
네.
어디까지 올라갈 것 같은지
We've been
이번
hearing Tempest will be one of the
전반기.
stronger teams in
전반기.
Korea.
네.
Where do you see
스톤
yourself
클래시는
going?
나갈 것 같습니다.
그래요?
네.
다 자기 본인들 팀들이 다 가겠다는 거예요. 지금
I think
이렇게
we
되면은
can
저희가 가진 팀
Probably go
티켓은
to the
몇장
Eastern
없는-
Clash.
네, 이스턴
여덟 팀이 다 가겠다
클래시를
그러면-
가겠다는 의지를 지금
네.
표현하셨는데
Which is the
일단은
MC said
L5와
everybody's saying that.
정말 강팀이 있잖아요.
큰 산이 있죠.
일단 리빌딩이 좀 이루어졌는데
There are lots of roster
템페스트도
changes.
리빌딩 됐고요.
네.
All
지금
including Tempest.
평가하고 있는 그 두 팀 만났을 때 어떨 것 같으세요?
And the other two that you're worrying about, how do you think it's coming though?
블랙은 그
And Black.
메리데이 그 지원가 보는 그 공석이 좀 많이 클 것 같아요.
I think
그래요?
네.
because They're
그럼
missing the
L5는?
support now. I
그리고
think that's going to be the biggest
노블레스
question for them.
그러면은
The biggest
템페스트는요?
homework.
템페스트는
아,
오히려
공-
How about teamwork?
How
about Tempest?
정말 뭐
I think Tempest is
지금
actually
예상
better.
순위가 1위가 템페스트네요.
네, 뭐 그러겠다.
And are you putting Tempest on top of
그쪽은
MVP
너무
Black?
구멍이니까 지금
네.
새로 들어온 선수들도 다 구멍이라는 느낌이 아니에요 지금.
보강이 됐고 해파리로.
리치 완전
So
구멍이.
you're saying there are holes in the other rosters, but not your team.
알겠습니다.
야,
너무
되게-
난해하면 안 되겠네요.
되게 솔직해야
네.
선수 느낌이 확실히 듭니다. 자, 템페스트 이제 새로 들어왔고 승리도 가져갔고 팬분들
And of course, with the win today,
각오 간단하게 좀 들어보겠습니다.
What's your last
네.
words then
템페스트
to
팬분들에게
your
너무
shout outs to your fans?
감사한 마음을 드리고 있고요.
네.
그
And I'm
뭐
thankful to all the
노력
Tempest
더
fans.
열심히 해가지고 템페스트 꼭 우승할 수 있게 노력하도록
I'll do
하겠습니다.
my best
알겠습니다. 앞으로
to
멋진
support
모습
Tempest to
보여주시길
actually
바라도록
be
하겠습니다.
in the
자,
first
오늘
place.
있었던 경기 결과 살펴보도록
thank you.
하겠습니다.
And that's it for HA82, and this is the result.
Here are our results. 3-1 here for Tempest. They do end up losing the map on Infernal Shrines. Raven with a good comeback there. As you said, the first two games looked a little bit off for Raven, but they really turned it on. Going into the fourth draft, they all-ined on a comp. You could see the theme was there, but the execution, as good as it was, wasn't good enough to defeat the Brightwing counter on the side of Tempest. So, this will put Tempest back towards the top of the standings with a 2-0 victory here. And the, obviously having the better win rate than Mighty, since Mighty went to Game 5 with Miracle. That's why they are first over Mighty. And this puts RRR and Raven down at the bottom side of things. Again, next week we will have MVP Black and L5 playing against each other, or not against each other, but playing. And so that is why they are absent from the standings. Had to give the teams that went to the mid-season brawl a week to recover from traveling and jet lag, things of that nature, to preserve this tournament's competitive integrity.
And here we go! Next matchup, as you can see on the screen, Match 1, Blossom versus MVP Black with Rich. The question is who will be on the support. We know the answer, but we will not say it until the next Friday. Tune in at the same time, 6 p.m. KST. And match number 2, L5 versus Tempest. This will be crazy.
Should be a good match for sure. I feel like that second one definitely going to be the better one of the night, but who doesn't want to watch Rich back in the meta, or back in the team with Illidan in the meta? We could see some Rich Illidan.
Oh,
who knows, man? We haven't seen him play in about 6 months of time. He hasn't played since BlizzCon, so 7 months basically since we've seen Rich play a competitive tournament match. He fell down in the semifinals there, took a break, went into streaming. He's back now, and he wants revenge.
Yeah, a lot to talk about before the match, and L5 is also back with the new roster. Should be very, very exciting match coming at you on Friday, and we are done for today with those 2 best-of-5 series. But we'll be back on Friday, as you just saw. Lots of hype matches, but that's it for Korea today. Next up is EU, so keep tuning in to this channel, and we'll see you guys on Friday.